Hey guys, Mr.BeetleBum here, and I am so excited to bring to you guys this new series of videos that I'm making right now. These videos are going to be more, let's just say, short and sweet to the point. This video being the first one might be a little long, but then from then on, what I'm going to try to do is just answer one question at a time. Questions that new players, or maybe players who have been playing this game for a long time, but are now saying, I want to get better. And it's questions that you guys should be asking and finding out the answers for. So I'm going to try to get those answers for you and make it into really easy to view content. And I hope you like it. Before we get into it, if you do like what you see in this video at all, please give it a like. Please give it a like. Because the only way you can get other people to see this video is if we get it into the YouTube algorithm. And you know, that's the only way to get it into the algorithm is by getting likes. So with that said, let's get into this. Okay, so what is WOT? What is WOT? Well, it's simple. WOT stands for World of Tanks. And World of Tanks is a free-to-play online tank simulator game that has hundreds of thousands of people playing it in North America, in Russia, Europe, Asia, Australia, New Zealand. I mean, this game is worldwide. Worldwide! Anyways, and one of the great things about this game is the fact that it's really free to play. You don't have to spend money in this game. Yes, Wargaming would love you to come buy some premium tanks, or some boosters, or some gold, or whatever. And if you want to do that, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But the great thing is you don't have to. I played this game free to play for years, man. I think it was like 3 years before I bought my first premium tank. And then a long time after, before I bought my next one. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, if you go into my garage, I got almost every premium tank out there. You know, the only ones, there's some that I don't like that I just don't bother to buy. But yeah, I collect tanks and I collect tank skins, stuff you're going to find out about on a later video. But the reality is you don't have to. Some of the best tanks in the game are what we call tech tree tanks. There's tech tree tanks, which are free. You just have to gather the XP for going from tier 1 all the way up to tier 10. That's how it works. You start at tier 1. There's only 10 tiers, and all the tanks get bigger and better and more armored as you get higher and higher and higher. And those are what we call tech tree. And like I said, some of the best games, the Krav, the 430U, the 140, the 277, the 705, and it just goes on and on, the Big Lebowski. It just goes on and on. There's so many of the best tanks out there are just regular tech tree tanks. Now, there's a ton of, premium tanks that are an absolute blast to play, but you don't have to have them to win or to be competitive, so to say. And that is really cool. In other words, it's there, you can buy it, you can get premium time to make the XP be bigger, you get more XP for every battle, which means you're gonna be able to train your crews up faster, you're gonna be able to learn new tanks faster. So yeah, there is a benefit for premium stuff. But again, you don't have to buy anything if you don't want to. So many games out there. This is why this is big, guys. There are a lot of free-to-play games out there that aren't really free to play. I mean, you're going to be behind the 8 ball all the time if you don't put in some money. That's not the case with this. If you're willing to take your time with the training and learning and everything, you're fine. You're fine. If you don't need everything right now, you're fine. It's that simple. Another great thing about this game is the fact it's been around for 10 years, actually more than 10 years now. Why is that a big deal? Well, most of the kinks are out of it. They've had time to go, okay, that didn't work. And, maybe we should do this, that kind of thing. Now, am I saying that this game is in the golden years of the game, the best time ever? No. Am I a fanboy who's just feeding you, the corporate line? No, not at all, man. There's plenty of things. I could sit here all day talking about stuff that, I don't think is the best thing for the game. But you know what? At the end of the day, I still come back and play this game because it's fun. That's simple. You know, we can sit here and talk about what we like and don't like, but the reality is it's a real fun game to play. Another nice thing, hundreds of tanks. Hundreds. Not only is there hundreds of tanks for you to decide to pick from, but there's also a crap ton of these tanks that were in the World War. They were actually, the Panther, the Tiger, the Stug. It just goes on and on and on. The Sherman, for crying out loud. Holy crap. How did I forget the Sherman? And all of its different, renditions of it. That was definitely used. The T-34, the most drove tank in World War II. There's so many tanks that were in the battles that are in the game. And that is phenomenal. I'm a big history buff. I love learning about wars. Probably also because I'm really heavily into supporting the military, both those who serve and those who are vets. So maybe that ties into why this appealed to me. But yeah, there's just so many of them and so many good ones in the regular tech tree for you to play. And not only are they real tanks, but man, the graphics, guys, the 3D graphics on these tanks are phenomenal. You can zoom in and see like all the nicks and chunks taken out of the armor from where shells had hit them. Heck, there's even tanks out there that have shells that are like wedged into the armor. Still, it's very, very cool. All I can say is the 3D graphics are just beautiful in this game. Very, very cool. The mechanics in this game, ooh, baby. There are a lot of mechanics. Mechanics are what decides if a game is going to be realistic or not. In other words, some mechanics in games are just so easy. Let me give you one example here, okay? Angling mechanics within the game. If you have a surface like this, like say the front of a tank is like this. Here's your tank, here's an enemy tank. And this enemy is going to shoot a shell at you. And if your armor is just, if you're just a box and it shoots, well, that means as long as that shell can over-penetrate the thickness of that armor, it's going to go through every time. Whereas if you angle the armor, now that thickness is multiplied and compounded by the angle of it. Yes, we're getting into science, and you gotta like it when games use science. But anyways, that means it's highly likely that it's gonna ricochet or bounce off of the armor. And I like that. I like being able to, with knowledge, be able to angle your tank so that you have a higher chance to get a ricochet than the person who doesn't know that and just sits there and like faces it. Yes, there are some tanks it's actually better just to face, but in general, you get what I'm trying to say, right? There's mechanics involved, and there are so many. It's not just angling. There are the camouflage mechanics. There's the spotting mechanics. There's the shell mechanics, the armor mechanics. It just goes on. There's so the learning curve of World of Tanks is like that. It is. It's a very high learning curve. But the fact is, and this goes into my next point of why I love this game, is the more you learn that higher learning curve, the more you learn, the more advantage you have. Remember how I said sometimes you just drive out and there's the enemy and you shoot it, and orange is just going to tell you whether or not you get a penetration. I don't like those games. Those games are like everyone's like, basically on the same level always. I like it when if I put the time and effort in to learn and master different mechanics and strategies and use my knowledge of the lay of the land and where I can hide behind bushes and where I can't, where I can use the actual topography to my advantage to cover the lower part of my tank, which is weaker, and only show the upper part of my tank, which is stronger. Something we'll learn later. Then I can use that to my advantage over someone who hasn't put the time and effort in to learn those things. So in other words, the more you learn, the more you have an advantage over your enemy. And to me, that's something that's very important within a game. Okay, so another thing that's great about this game is the game modes. Look, if you're one of those lone wolf players, kind of like how I was when I started World of Tanks, and you don't want to get into large groups. You don't want to get into Discord and talk to everybody and have to organize everything. It takes like an hour to get prepared before you do anything. if you're like the kind of person that just wants to get into a game, go into the garage, set up your tank, hit the battle button, boom, be in a battle, which is awesome because this one's like, that's very quick. Then, you know, you got your random battles, and it's just so easy to jump into those and get into a battle. Or if you want to do platoons where you get 3 people in a group in what's called a platoon, and then you enter into a random battle, you can do that if you want to play with other people. Or you can go to the extreme, what I was talking about, that a lone wolf doesn't like, the kind of player who wants to do clan wars, skirmishes, global maps. Those are where you have to get together with the leaders and, you know, a whole bunch of players and organize and strategize, communicate over the, you know, the Discord and whatnot to each other, and enter into the clan war battles. And, you know, that's if you're really into that stuff. But the great thing about this game is you've got the different modes for different game styles. If you want to play by yourself, not a problem. Jump into random battles by yourself. You also have campaign missions you can do. Those campaign missions are things you can do on your own or in a platoon if you want. And at the end of it, you get rewarded with reward tanks, all kinds of credits and boosters and all kinds of different things that you get for free. So that's also an incentive to play that way. And then if you want to go further, like I said about clan wars, when you're playing with large groups, those too have rewards. Very nice tanks, very hard to get tanks. Then there's other game modes, like what about ranked battles? You think you're good? You think you're ready to take on the best of the best? Get into ranked battles, man, and work your way up all the different levels into the different groups. And eventually you can get some reward tanks from that as well, along with a whole bunch of other rewards. But, you know, you might be thinking, well, is the only way I get rewards from that? No, as I said, there's campaign missions you can get reward tanks. There's Battle Pass. Battle Pass seems to come and go, and normally it's a period of time of, like, say, a month or so. And it's just a bunch of different missions you have to compete. And as you get points throughout it, you're going to get new things for free. Again, boosters, equipment, crew books, crew skins, tank skins. And eventually you can also accumulate tokens, and tokens you can turn in for tanks, for different crew members, special crew members. There's just such an assortment of different game modes in this game that you won't be able to get bored. You know, there's just a variety, a huge variety of different modes for everybody. And I think basically I can say quite safely that there's probably a game mode for everyone who wants to play a tank simulator game. Okay, guys, I hope I gave you enough reasons why you might want to try playing World of Tanks. I personally can't say enough about it. I would give it a grade of, yeah, baby. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's not a pay to win. You know, you can be very competitive without spending any money on this game. So it's a true free to play. Yes, there's some great reasons to spend money on it, but you don't have to. And like I said, there are so many different game modes. When you learn more, you actually have an advantage. The mechanics are awesome and make the game more realistic. There's so many people playing this game. There's so many tanks to pick from. It's got a lot going for it. So guys, if you like the video, again, please give it a thumbs up. It will really help us get these videos out to other people. If you want to see me live, then come over to Twitch. Check it out. I'll be there to answer questions for you. I mean, you ask and I answer. What a quick turnaround, hey? I do also answer questions that are left in the YouTube video comments as well. And then finally, if you want to see any more videos as they come out, which there's going to be a lot coming out now, then set up your notifications and get it set up so that when each new video comes out, you'll know about it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Watch some other ones if you want to learn some more. And until the next time, I'm Mr. BeetleBum and I'm out.